Aries, God has seen. He has seen the tears you swallowed in silence. He has seen you rise when no one applauded. And today, I tell you, what is coming will change your destiny forever. This is not just a prediction. It is the confirmation that God has chosen you, Aries, to step into an entirely new chapter. At the end of this message, you will understand why every trial of yours was never meaningless. You will see clearly that abundance, both material and spiritual, is moving into your life, and it carries a divine signature meant only for Aries. Write in the comments, "I am ready to burn like the flame God has lit within me." This is not just a phrase, it is a declaration, a direct connection to the energy of the universe. And if these words touch your heart, press like, share this message, so that Aries' light may reach other souls in need of uplift. Now, let us go deeper into the journey that Aries is stepping into, a place where your flame is seen by God and blessed with an overflow never before experienced. There is a secret in astrology not everyone tells you. Every zodiac sign is ruled by a planet, and Aries, you, are given the power of Mars. Mars is not merely the planet of anger, as many believe. It is the symbol of willpower that opens the way, of the strength that pioneers, of the first flame that rises to shatter the dark. When I look at the chart of Aries, I often pause longer than with any other sign. Because in the eyes of Aries, I always see the restlessness of a fire that refuses to lie still. Yes, life may have forced you to taste bitter trials, but remember this, God has seen it all. Not a single wound, not a single collapse of yours has ever been forgotten. My personal conviction, after decades of studying astrology and living life, is this. Aries is the warrior God sent into the world to walk where no one dared to go. Not so you could live an easy life, but so you could become a symbol of strength that refuses to bow. In the ancient texts, Aries was called the one who walks first, opening the road. But I believe your destiny is even more sacred. You are the one willing to stand alone before the locked door and turn it into a gateway through which the world may be reborn. One of the greatest human lessons Aries brings to humanity is this. True strength is not in the shout. It is in the ability to rise again after ruin. How many times in your life have you quietly stood back up while everyone thought you had fallen? How many times have you smiled, hiding your tears, just so others would not worry? In those hidden moments, God was watching. Each time you collapsed, His angels sat beside you, listening to your sighs, recording every tear. And now, this moment as I speak to you is a reminder. Your flame has never gone out. I must confess, in all my years of study, I have always held a special reverence for Aries, because I see in them a spirit few on earth preserved to the end. Fall where you may, rise in that very place. Yes, people may laugh at you, doubt you, call you stubborn, headstrong, but I tell you that very stubbornness is God's gift. Without it, you could never have survived those endless nights of darkness. And right now, I invite you to pause, just for a breath. Write in the comments, "I am the flame that God has lit, and I will not let it die." For when you write this, you are not only speaking to the world, you are speaking to your soul. And this belief will connect you to thousands of Aries watching alongside you. There is a truth not many notice. Aries is not strong because they have never felt pain. Aries is strong because they have felt pain to the deepest depths and still chose to rise. That is what makes you different. You have faced moments when life seemed determined to break you, but instead of vanishing in silence, you rose. And it was that resurrection which made you a witness to the endurance of the soul. I recall one session where an Aries woman sat before me. She had endured a shattered marriage, lost her family and her career. When I asked, "What kept you from breaking completely?" she answered, in tears, "I don't know. I just felt someone was watching me, as if God would not let me give up." In that moment, I understood more deeply than ever. The flame of Aries is not self-lit. It is placed there by a divine hand, and that is why it never dies. Here's what I want you to remember. You do not need recognition from anyone to hold value. Your rising, even in the dark, is already a sacred victory. Remember, God did not choose you for a quiet life. He chose you to be proof of the power of life itself. So let me ask you now, when was the last time you overcame a trial that no one knew about? Share it in the comments, because each of your stories is a flame, and when these flames come together, the whole world will be warmed. And don't leave yet. For I will reveal to you why your flame is not only for survival, but for the opening of a new era of abundance, a flood of blessings pouring into your life. There is a moment in astrology that always sends a shiver through me when I see it appear in the chart of an Aries. When Jupiter, the planet of expansion and blessing, passes through the second house, the house of finance, value, and confidence. This is more than just a sign of money or possessions. It signals an overflow, a stream of the universe pouring down like a waterfall of light from the heavens, flowing straight into your heart. I have studied thousands of charts, and one truth always moves me. When Aries is blessed, they never receive only for themselves. They become a source of light, radiating outward to their community. Unlike those who hoard, Aries cannot keep their abundance to themselves. The fire in their heart always whispers, share, give, light another flame. And that is the mark of a chosen soul. Not only to receive blessing, but to become the channel of blessing. When you hear the word abundance, perhaps you think of money, wealth, possessions. But this sacred overflow is so much wider. It is love, faith, and opportunity flowing like a living river. It is the abundance of love. You love more, forgive more, embrace old wounds with a tender heart. It is the abundance of faith. You no longer tremble at trials, for you know God has placed you on the right path. It is the abundance of opportunity. Doors once closed begin to open, not because you forced them, but because your energy now resonates with the frequency of the universe. That is why, when Aries steps into Jupiter's season of light, I often tell them, prepare your heart before you prepare your wallet. Let me ask you now, have you ever lived in lack? Lack of money? Lack of love? Lack of a hand to hold when you trembled? If you have, then believe this. What is coming will make you weep, because God has never forgotten you. The nights you sat in darkness, thinking no one saw, were the very nights the universe was recording carefully to return to you today as an abundance beyond measure. And the greatest lesson Aries can pass to the world is this. Abundance is not to clutch tightly, but to pour out. For blessings are like fire. Hold them in your fist and they will burn you, but share them and they will warm an entire home. This is why when Aries is happy, everyone around them feels the warmth. So right now, I invite you to be honest with yourself. Do you believe abundance comes to the soul before it comes to the wallet? Write your reflection in the comments, because when you write, you are not only expressing thought, you are affirming your faith with the universe. You are saying, I am ready to receive this sacred season of blessing. Once I met an Aries man. He had grown up in poverty, raised in the shadow of lack. But when Jupiter entered the second house in his chart, everything turned unexpectedly. He was promoted. He had enough money to buy the home he had always dreamed of. And more than anything, he said to me, for the first time in my life, I feel I have more than enough to give away. He began to fund scholarships for poor children to help his community. And in doing so, he discovered the greatest joy did not lie in the key to his new house, but in the smiles he had planted. That is the most beautiful image of sacred abundance. It flows through you to reach other souls. And let me tell you, what I am about to say goes even further than abundance, because these blessings are only the beginning. In astrology, there are rare moments when something happens that has never occurred in the history of your soul, something that has never happened to anyone. That is what awaits Aries. And now I will reveal how this unprecedented event will come to you and why God has chosen you to write this new chapter. In astrology, there are unmistakable moments when an eclipse appears or when Uranus, the planet of surprise, shock, and liberation, touches the sensitive points in your chart. For Aries, that moment is like a heavenly door suddenly flung open without warning. And from that door, light pours down, bringing with it both trials and opportunities never seen before. An eclipse and Uranus are like bells ringing from the heavens, announcing that a door never opened will now burst wide. You no longer stand at the old threshold. Before you now is a corridor of light that no one has yet walked. I have studied astrology for decades, and one thing I always affirm is this: Aries is the sign that pioneers what the world has never known. My personal belief is this: the things that happen to Aries are not merely personal experiences, they are drafts for humanity. In other words, you are the one who tests first the emotions, the turning points, the battles, that one day the world will also go through. It may be a burden, but it is also an honor, because when you go first, you become the guiding light. Imagine this. One day you wake up and the world around you has changed. The familiar road suddenly bends in another direction. The friend you thought would stay forever vanishes, and an opportunity you never dared dream of appears, shining like an open door. That is the signature of Uranus and the eclipse, to bring you where you never imagined you would go. And the miracle is this: when the unprecedented arrives, you realize every wound, every fall before it was preparation. When you go through what has never been, remember this: you are not living for yourself alone. You are becoming a witness for the world. Every step you take, whether trembling or strong, is carved into the collective memory of humanity. Others will look at you, and in the very moment you feel, in the very moment you are in truth doing the work of a pioneer. The lesson here is profound. The unprecedented is not a personal burden. It is the opportunity to become a symbol of hope. Let me say this, Aries. God has chosen you to write a new chapter. Though your hands may tremble, though your heart has often longed to give up, He still places the pen in your hand and says, "Write." For this story is not only for you, but for the many who will walk after you. And that is why you are still here, still breathing, still keeping the flame in your heart, not by accident, but because your story is not finished. I remember another Aries man I once met. He lost everything in a single year: his job, his lover, even his faith. People called him a failure. But right then, Uranus crossed his sun, a rare event. What happened? He suddenly received an unexpected opportunity from an old friend to build a creative project no one had ever tried before. That project became a resounding success. It opened an entirely new path in his career. He told me, "I felt as though I was the first person in the world to walk a road that never existed, and that was both terrifying and miraculous." His story is proof. When the unprecedented happens, it may shake you, but it can also turn you into a pioneer. And now I ask you, have you ever lived through a turning point that made you feel like the first person in the world? Share your story in the comments. Because when you tell it, you not only heal yourself, you inspire thousands of others who are listening. Do you know this? When Uranus touches Aries, it often brings the collapse of old structures. The relationship you thought eternal may break. The job you thought secure forever may end. But all of it is only so you will see. The old must disappear for the new, the unprecedented, to arrive. Do not fear when everything around you trembles, for you are not being destroyed. You are being moved into a new chapter. Remember this: when the unprecedented comes, it never comes easily. It will test you. It will force you into unfamiliar land where you have no map. But in that moment, faith becomes your compass. God will not let you walk alone. He will send you signs, people, opportunities to whisper, "You are on the right path." As I study the stories of many Aries, I see one truth. It is in the unexpected that the soul grows. It is in the unprecedented that we find the higher version of ourselves. If everything only repeated, you would never know how great your potential truly is. But when the universe compels you into ground no one has walked, you discover you are stronger, wiser, and more loved than you imagined. And this is only the beginning. For these unprecedented events are not random. They happen because God has seen it all. He has watched every sacrifice, every tear of yours. And now He brings you to this moment to bless you, to proclaim, your light is not only for you, but for the world. Come with me now, for I will reveal more deeply what God has seen in you and why this divine recognition matters so greatly for Aries' journey. There is a house many are afraid to mention, the 12th house. It is called the house of karma, of shadow, of loneliness, and silent trials. But for those patient enough to look deeper, the 12th house is also the dwelling of divine grace, the unseen hand, the eyes that watch you when the whole world turns away. For Aries, the 12th house is the mirror of all you have endured in silence. It shows this. Not a single sacrifice of yours has vanished into nothing. Every pain buried, every tear shed in the dark, has been kept in the sacred archives of the universe. And God, the one who sees all, has witnessed it all. Let me say this from the depth of my heart. There is nothing you have done in silence that God has not seen. Even when you quietly set aside the better portion for your loved ones, even when you endured loss to keep the peace, all of it has been recorded. Because for God, no act of love is too small. The world may forget. People may fail to recognize, but God has never forgotten a single breath of yours. That is the truth the 12th house whispers to me every time I read the chart of an Aries. And I want you to know, every silence of yours has been heard. Perhaps you have felt injustice. You gave much, yet received betrayal. You worked with devotion, only to have others claim the reward. You loved with all your heart and were left with a heart gone cold. I understand, those wounds may have made you wonder, does God see? Does justice still exist? Let me answer you. Divine justice does not come through the courts of men. It comes through the unseen hand that places exactly what you deserve. It may come late, but it will surely come. The 12th house teaches us this. Everything in the dark will be brought to light, in the right time, in the right way. And what you receive will not only be material repayment, but divine recognition from above. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine. You are standing in a dark room, only yourself there. You cry, you tremble, you feel weak. No one is there. But then you feel a warm breath gently touch your shoulder. That is not illusion. It is the presence of the one who has always watched over you. You may think yourself small, invisible, but in God's eyes, you have never lost your worth. Every time you thought yourself alone, remember this. There is a holy gaze watching each step of yours, loving you more than you even know how to love yourself. The 12th house reminds us, every action, even the most silent, carries meaning. You do not need a stage to prove you are worthy. Because there is another stage, holier larger, where God is the only audience, and He has never taken His eyes off you. The lesson here is simple, yet eternal. Living kindly is never wasted. Sacrifice is never lost. Love has never been meaningless. All is recorded, and all will return to you as a harvest of abundance. I once knew an Aries woman, a single mother in silence. Each day she worked endlessly, swallowing tears, just to care for her child. No one knew, no one praised her, no one encouraged her, yet she never gave up. When Jupiter entered her 12th house, something wondrous happened. The child she had raised alone won a prestigious international scholarship. She looked at her child, cried, and said, "So God did see the nights I stayed awake. He never forgot me." That story is proof. Every silent sacrifice will have its answer. Now I want to ask you, do you feel that there are holy eyes watching every step of yours? Share your feeling in the comments, because when you write it out, you affirm to the universe, I know I am not alone. I know I am loved. I have witnessed thousands of Aries walk through the darkest nights, and they all share one thing in common. There is always an unseen hand pulling them out of the depths. I believe this is proof of the saying, there is nothing you do in silence that God does not see. And because of this, you can lift your head high even when no one has yet recognized you. For recognition from man is temporary, but recognition from God is eternal. When the 12th house completes its work, something miraculous happens. You emerge from the darkness, no longer the same person, but light for the world. You no longer live for yourself alone. Every experience, every pain, every sacrifice, all becomes the journey you carry to guide, inspire, and uplift others. That is the mission God has entrusted to you, to turn wounds into light, to turn darkness into a torch for the path ahead. And here, Aries, is the greatest turning point. You are no longer just the one who is seen. You become the one who carries light for the world. Now let me lead you to this truth. Why your light cannot be hidden and why God wants you to become the torch that guides humanity. There is a fact in astrology that any student must admit. Aries belongs to the fire element, and fire, by its nature, cannot be hidden. You can cover a candle with your hand, but soon the hand itself will burn. You can try to put out a small spark, but if it is the fire of destiny, it will blaze into a torch that lights the entire sky. Aries is born to shine, not to hide. Astrology teaches that fire has three forms: the spark of Aries, the roaring flame of Leo, and the enduring ember of Sagittarius. Among these, the spark of Aries is the most unique, for it represents beginnings, new life, creation itself. I have always believed this. The arrival of an Aries is the universe's answer to darkness. When shadows cover the earth, Aries appears. When everyone hesitates, Aries steps forward. When the world trembles, Aries cries out, "Let me go first." And it is in that moment that the light of Aries cannot be hidden. Many Aries both long to shine and fear their light will make them lonely. But the truth is, light cannot be hidden. God did not create a torch to stay in the dark. He created it to illuminate the way. The truth I want to repeat here is this: you cannot hide your light. You may try to suppress it. You may attempt to live quietly. You may say, "I will stop being so different." But one day God will remind you, "I did not create a torch to be hidden in darkness. I created it to shine." There is a human lesson I want to give you. Your light is not only for your own steps, it is to guide others. You were born not only to complete your own life, but to become the signpost for those who are lost. Imagine, in a cold night, people groping in the dark. Then a torch flares up. That torch not only warms you, but warms those around you. That torch, Aries, is you. Let me speak this from my heart to yours. Imagine a torch flaring in the cold night. That torch is you. Perhaps you have felt misunderstood, lonely, labeled as too much, too strong, too fiery, too unpredictable. But in truth, what you carry is light that darkness cannot endure. If others step back, sometimes it is not because you are wrong, but because they are not yet used to such brightness. But trust me, that light must remain, because one day, they will come back to you, seeking its warmth. I once met an Aries man at 50. For many years, he lived humbly, afraid to show his talents, fearing jealousy. Then one great crisis struck at work. Everyone panicked, no one dared take responsibility. And he, though weary, stepped up, took the burden, and found a new way forward. The result, the project succeeded brilliantly, saving the company from collapse. When I asked, "Why did you step forward when you could have stayed silent?" he smiled, tears falling, "Because I knew if I did not rise, no one else would. I could no longer hide this light." That moment, I understood more than ever. Aries is not born to hide, you are born to guide. Right now, I invite you to write in the comments a declaration. I am the torch for my family, my friends, and for all who need my light. When you write this, you affirm not only to yourself, but you send a message to the universe. I am ready for my light to spread. There is a truth about fire. The more it is suppressed, the more fiercely it blazes. You can cover embers with ash, but one breath of wind and the fire roars again. So it is with Aries. Every wound, every fall, every betrayal, all only make you burn brighter, because God has given you a flame that cannot be extinguished. And the miracle is this: when you blaze, nothing can put you out. The deepest belief I hold in my heart is this: every time an Aries shines, it is proof that darkness cannot win. You do not shine to prove anything to yourself. You shine so the whole world knows light still exists. Remember, your light is not only your victory, it is hope for those who are lost. Each time you live true to who you are, daring to begin, daring to step first, daring to face challenge, you give others faith that they too can rise. Your light is not selfish, it is a blessing for all humanity. There was once an Aries girl who said to me, "I used to fear that I was too different, but when I started living true, my friends told me it was my difference that saved them." That sentence left me speechless. It proved this truth: light never shines only for itself. Light exists to save other souls. I want you and I to make a declaration together. Write in the comments, "My light is the universe's answer to the darkness." Let these words become a flame spreading outward, so that anyone who comes here will feel warmth, will feel strengthened. And this is only part of the journey, because your light, Aries, is not only for this present moment, it is a promise for the future. It is the key to unlock the season of divine abundance and the eternal mission God has prepared only for you. I will reveal this, the promise of abundance, and why you are the channel of blessing for the world. There are rare cycles that mark turning points in life. One of the most powerful is when Jupiter, the planet of expansion and blessing, completes its orbit and meets Saturn, the planet of discipline, trial, and foundation. When these two complete a cycle, it does not only signify an ending, it opens a new era of prosperity. For Aries, this is the holy sign. You have passed through the season of sowing and tears, and now comes the harvest, the season of abundance. When Jupiter and Saturn complete their cycle, it is like the field after a storm begins to bloom. The seeds you planted in sorrow now burst forth into a harvest of plenty. When these two planets meet, a divine balance is set. Blessings are poured upon those who have learned the lessons of discipline, patience, and faithfulness to their soul. For Aries, it is like a promise whispered. You have passed through the fire of trial. Now I give you the season of abundance. Not only so you may be full, but so you may become the channel of blessing for many. After decades of study and listening to the stories of thousands of Aries, I have learned one thing. Every time Aries steps into abundance, the entire community around them is lifted up. Because the energy of Aries never stops at the self. When you have more, you naturally find ways to share, to lift others, to give. I have seen Aries who once lived in poverty. When success came, they built schools, founded charities, gave hundreds of children the chance to learn. I have seen Aries from ordinary families. When their finances grew, they immediately cared for siblings, parents, communities. This proves the abundance of Aries has never been only for themselves. Here lies the profound human lesson. Abundance is not for spending. It is to become a conduit of blessing. You are no longer the one running, searching for scraps of bread to survive. Now you are the one holding the entire bakery. And your mission is to feed the hungry. Engrave this truth. God does not give you abundance to sit on a mountain of gold. He gives it so you may become a river, bringing water to the dry lands. Pause for a moment and feel these words. You are no longer the one searching for bread. You are the one who shares the entire bakery with the hungry. Do you see the difference? Once you struggled to survive, now you are entrusted with the power to nourish a whole community. And in the eyes of God, nothing is higher than a soul willing to become the channel of blessing for others. I remember a 40-year-old Aries woman. She had endured a harsh youth, worked endlessly, raised her child alone. But when the Jupiter-Saturn cycle completed, destiny shifted. She started her own business, succeeded beyond expectation. Yet what touched me was not her wealth. When I asked, "What makes you happiest?" she smiled and said, "I am happiest when I can give. I bought back my parents' old house, restored it so they could rest in peace. I started a small fund for single mothers like I once was. I cannot keep it all because I know I was blessed to share." That is the true picture of sacred abundance. And now, I invite you to join me in this affirmation. If you believe you are chosen to become the source of abundance for others, write in the comments, "I am God's blessing." Let this not only be words on a screen, but a declaration vibrating in your soul. In the past, you begged, you longed, you searched, but today, your role has changed. Now, you are not only the receiver, you are the giver. This does not mean you will never need anything again. It means your energy is now wide enough to receive and to give, to become the eternal channel of blessing. Because God knows this, those who have tasted hunger treasure every piece of bread. Those who have walked through darkness know how to guard the light. I believe this. When Aries is given abundance, it is a sign that God trusts them. Trusts that you will not use it to destroy. Trusts that you will not keep it only for yourself. Trusts that you will spread it, share it, turn abundance into blessing for many. And this is why your abundance is unlike anyone else's. It is sacred. It is a mission. There is a justice, both the 12th house, Jupiter, and Saturn all teach us. Every silent sacrifice will become a harvest of plenty. No tear you shed has failed to bear fruit. No day of patience has gone unseen. And when you step into the season of abundance, you will understand this is not luck. It is the rightful reward for years of faithfulness. I once asked an Aries man, "Do you feel you deserve the blessings that are coming?" He smiled, tears falling. "I don't think I am lucky. I think this is justice. I lived through days when I had nothing but faith, and now I see God answer." His words moved me deeply. Because he was right. Divine abundance is never random. It is sacred justice. And here, Aries, is what you must engrave in your heart. Your season of abundance has come, not to keep you still, but to make you a living blessing for the world. Dear Aries, we have walked a long journey together, from the first spark God placed in you, to the sacred abundance now flowing like a river. And in this moment, I want you to know, I thank you. Thank you for listening until the end. Thank you for opening your heart, letting me share the story of your light. Thank you for bravely enduring pain without giving up, for because of you, the world holds another burning torch. Perhaps the world has not acknowledged you. Perhaps you have felt small, invisible. but carve this truth into your soul. God has seen it all. He has not only seen, but now proclaims before all creation, "This is the light I have chosen to guide humanity." And now, let this moment become a sacred covenant. Write in the comments this declaration as a vow to the universe. I am God's blessing, and the light in me will spread everywhere. Write it not only to say it, write it to believe it. Because when thousands of voices join, it will become a symphony of light, tearing through the darkness of this world. If you feel this message touched your heart, like this video, share it with those you love, and subscribe so we can continue walking together in the journeys ahead. Because every share is a spark. And when sparks unite, they become a great fire, the fire God entrusted to Aries to light the world. Aries, this is not the end. This is a new beginning. In the chapters ahead, I will share even more about the sacred mission God has placed in your heart. So hold your fire, be proud of your light, and never forget, you are not alone. You are light, you are blessing.